Welcome everyone to the first truly continental episode of the Caravan Tour of Terror, a show that finds us touring the globe through the medium of horrific, chilling and disturbing entertainment. My name's Donald and I'm the driver on this quest. Joining me at my side as always, with a road atlas on his lap and a smile on his face, is my navigator Ali. Say hello, Ali.
Hello, Ali.
Ali, do you know where we are?
It seems we're in some sort of pocket dimension.
Yeah. This time we're somewhere rather special, okay? It's quite odd. We travelled from England across the Channel. You remember that bit?
I do.
We should be in France.
We should be. So we ran into a bit of problems. We've not been to mainland Europe in, let's say, quite a while. At least since New Year. And they just kept moving us around. They just, no, you can't come in here anymore. So they've kind of... Donald will explain what happened to us.
If you look out your window, you might just happen to see the Berlin Wall. What the fuck are you talking about, Donald, you may ask? Well, the film we're watching is Possession, a film set in West Germany with a Polish director and a Kiwi leading man. But we should be in France, so why the fuck are we here? Well, IMDb lists it as a French production, so shut up, right? It says it's France. It's a co-production with France and West Germany. West Germany doesn't exist anymore, so now it's a French film, okay? That's my point number one. I'm on the defensive already. Because I expect bitterness about this. And also, I mean, I wanted to watch this movie for a long time, and I really honestly didn't know exactly where to fit it in. But it does have some French things, okay? It is in the English language, but the leading lady is French, which is very good. And the Polish director did emigrate to France, and I think France became his real home later on in his life. And I should say before we get started properly, that France had a very important resurgence in horror around the millennium. And we're not going to miss out on that either. So rather than miss out on it, we're having a two-parter of French extremity, okay? It's going to happen. But for now...
Here's part one.
This is France,
Germany.
West Germany.
France part one, Berlin.
Berlin, 1981, yes. Also, while I'm here, droning on, before we get properly started, you may notice, dear listener, that we've changed it up a little bit. So rather than go through the whole plot, we're just going to talk about specific moments or themes or notable scenes that we want to talk about. So this episode won't quite be as spoiler-tastic as other episodes. And if we do talk about the ending, we'll give a warning about that. It's going to be mostly talking about moments throughout the film, but in a way that you could probably still watch the film, and yeah, you might know some moments that are coming up, but it shouldn't, detract from the overall plot. Does that sound fair enough to you, Ali?
It does. Yeah.
So we'd love some feedback on this change and the show in general, because we're getting to that stage of our journey. So you can write to us at... Where can they write to us, Ali? Test, quick.
No.
No. So easy. caravantourofterror@gmail.com, and we'll put a link in the description of the show notes.
I was about to start that email address with podcast, so I don't know.
Or you can leave us a review on iTunes or whatever. If you're going to be brutal, email us, yeah? Because publishing a 1-star review on iTunes for a new podcast, basically you're stabbing us in the face. But it's fine. If you really want to, that's okay. We could take the criticism.
Although, depending on your 1-star review, might get read out in the show.
Oh, yeah, actually, yeah. No, wait, don't give them encouragement to leave us 1-star reviews. Jesus.
We'll be famous for being the most bombed iTunes podcast.
Oh God, give me strength. Anyway, so here we go. So Ali, tell us a little bit, not a lot.
A little bit
Yeah.
About Possession. So Possession is a 1981 country ambiguous film by, I will butcher some of these names.
Oh, I wrote it down phonetically somewhere, but I don't know where.
Yeah, I bet you did.
Andrei
Zulawski.
Yeah.
Starring Isabelle, Adjani, and Sam Neill. Your friend and mine, Isabelle and Adjani. And it is about a man named Mark, very German name.
He's not German.
I know, but you ruined my great. You could call him Deutschmark.
Oh God.
Yeah. So Mark comes home from a ambiguous international mission in 1981 Berlin. You're kind of left to your own devices to make what he might be doing.
Yeah.
And comes back to his wife, who has cheated on him, and basically it is about the worst breakup you can ever imagine. It is about these two people, Mark and Anna, going through this horrific separation. Like, horrific separation.
Yeah.
If you thought Adam Driver went through some shit, honestly. And
I mean, that's most of it. That's the film.
That's the film.
In a nutshell, it's a divorce. How they break, sort of. A breakup, yeah. In a breakup,
how they break down, how it affects them, their son, their relationship with each other.
And horror happens, but it's all...
And horror happens.
It's all metaphorical.
It's all fuckety.
Yeah, it's all fucking metaphorical. So let's start with the bits from the non-horror movie, because there's, I mean, third or half?
Oh, there's...
It's just I'd say melodrama rather than drama even.
Oh, yeah.
But...
and I mean, I'm actually going to start with the opening scene is Mark coming home. And them having this, so it really sets the tone of the movie. You would think for the first 5 minutes, and they have this kind of theatrical way of talking.
Yeah, it's mad.
Like, no one talks like this.
Yeah,
I wrote down. So he gets in, and she meets him outside as he gets out of the taxi, and they have an argument, and things just aren't right. And the next scene is the son in the bath, and Sam Neill's watching him all proud, and he turns to his wife and says, "Come and admire him." And it's super creepy and weird. And
I had clocked at that point that it was like everyone's weird in this movie, but it took me a bit longer than you to clock it properly.
Man, that line, and it's like it's the first line of the second scene.
Yeah.
Of the second cut, whatever. Like, it's just straight up, and I was like, and then they're lying in bed, and I'm not going through the whole movie, but it is just this first 5 minutes, and they're lying in bed and they're talking to each other like really flowery language, and like no one talk. Yeah, you would imagine it being a stage play.
I see. I think I've said that before about other films, and I wouldn't say this is a stage play. This is weirder than that. This is like a dance or something.
But this is it was only the first like 5 minutes. Like, as things break down.
Sure. I get what you're saying.
That language gets lost,
Yeah.
and they just start screaming, "Fuck you, Anna! Fuck you, Mark!"
Oh, it's such a loud film. Oh my god, everyone's screaming at each other constantly. I mean, quite soon into watching it, I was like, Sam Neill's big in this, and I was like, he's kind of like Nicolas Cage, and then I was like, when did Nicolas Cage start acting? And I was like, a year after this film, did Nicolas Cage see Possession and Sam Neill and think, this is a great actor, I should just do this more often? But then that was when I thought Sam Neill was being big, before Heinrich came in and stuff like that, and I was like, holy shit.
God, Heinrich. We'll get to Heinrich. Heinrich's a whole being unto himself. Yeah, Sam Neill's performance in this is like, we'll talk about it later, like, it's very Event Horizon.
Oh yeah,
it's the thing you forget, because Sam Neill is kind of now known for Jurassic Park, and you could argue
Hunt for the Wilder People,
and so he's very stoic, or he's science. Like, do you know what I mean?
At some point,
Sam Neill can go weird.
At some point, he said this was his best movie he's been in, but I don't know when he said that, because Wilder People's. No. I'm sure he said later on, but I mean, Hunt for the Wilder People's really good, and he's really good in it. So, and it's like closer to his home, so I imagine he must be quite proud of that one too. Anyway, that's just putting words into Sam Neill's mouth, but
Sam Neill puts a lot of words into his own mouth.
Oh god, the dialogue's pretty incomprehensible to me quite a lot of the time.
It is like but a lot of the dialogue is relatively inconsequential to the most part.
Yeah. It's kind of like a mood it's trying to give or something weird, rather than you don't really need to know what they're saying to each other because it's all just depressing. Why'd they call their son Bob? They called their little boy Bob.
No,
a young boy called Bob. That you don't see that anymore. I'll tell you what.
When the movie closed, I turned to Emily and said the true horror is how a French woman and an American man in Germany had an English son.
Well, is he? I don't know what his accent is like, to be honest.
I took it as American.
I honestly don't know.
It's not German. It's not English.
It might be bad British, potentially.
For me, it just came across as straight up.
Yeah, well,
American.
I didn't really know. I don't think they properly, named it.
In case this isn't clear, this is an art house movie.
Yeah, this is well arty.
And it is a lot of and I will cover it closer to the end of what themes I might have taken away from it.
Yeah.
At the time or now, but again, that's all speculation. We'll get to our thoughts.
Yeah. It's probably good to say up at the top that it's very arty and weird.
Yeah.
Which I didn't realize. I just knew that it was supposed to be really good, but these days I try not to find out that much about movies, so I had absolutely no idea this film was like that at all. And I was like, oh shit. Okay, sorry. We've had 2 weird movies in a row, but this is way weirder than Possum. This is way less mainstream than Possum is.
I mean, the thing is I've now had to prepare myself that I could get a possum or I could get the keep. And I know nothing going into these. He hands me movies and I watch them. So I literally could be anything. I could come out with a tear down my cheek because I've had such a chuckle, or a tear down my cheek because I want to die inside a little bit. It's the roll of the dice.
So the first interview scene I quite liked, which you glossed over, when he's been interviewed by the 4 men in a huge echoey room, and they've put the table in one corner of the room, and then the camera's spinning around them all as they're talking, and one of the guys talking to him has an eye patch. I was like, one
of them has an eye patch, which is just the best part. They're like just these 4 shadowy figures.
Yeah. Does the subject still wear pink socks? I was like, whoa, no.
And then they hand him a briefcase, and he just makes sure he's just close enough to the wall so no one can see him, and opens it and holds all the money and goes, yeah, it's all the money they owed me, and puts it back in and walks away.
There's a shot. So the Berlin Wall is it's almost like a character in this film, because most things take place near it. Both the main,
they live near it. They live there, and
the other apartment. A lot of the horrific action takes place at another apartment that Anna goes to, and that's near the Berlin Wall as well. But I just like the shot of the soldiers looking from the other side of the Berlin Wall, looking kind of suspiciously in the camera's general direction, probably thinking, what the fuck are they filming over there? Because I was like, they must be soldiers, right? Like, surely.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I just found that cool. I was like, oh, these two guys have no idea. They should sue. They should get their faces blurred. There's no way they consented.
I don't think that's how that works, to be honest.
That is how that works, I think.
Well, what about, no, because you get those shots of, like, people just walking down the street.
You get runners. You get runners with contracts running after them, haranguing them, pushing money into their pockets. I think...
New York street scenes?
I think if you're identifiable, yeah. If you're if it's the back of your head, no.
So wait, they have to get everyone walking towards the camera, but everyone walking away is thing?
I also think it might...
That guy turned around!
It might be a question of, are they likely to see it kick up a stink? Because, I mean, if it was a Marvel movie, yeah, because you're going to be more exposed. But, yeah, I know what you mean. But, I'm pretty sure they do need to get signed off from... I think, technically... Yeah, you need to. Everyone that's in the scene needs to be signed off. But
obviously, the times might have changed. But do you know the infamous scene of is it Dustin Hoffman slamming the car and saying,
that's not what I thought.
That was improvised. Exactly, because that was an improvised scene. But there's a bunch of people walking back and forth.
Yeah. No, I get what you mean. Right. Well, lawyers, email in.
Yeah. caravantourterror@gmail.com.
Yes.
So yeah, the first
enough about law. We're getting bogged
enough
down in
about
law.
The first like 20 minutes of this movie is basically just Mark and Anna screaming at each other.
That's most of the movie, though. To be fair,
Yeah,
everyone screams at everyone.
Yeah, but it escalates from there.
Well, I think when I really what really set off for me was when Mark finds out that Heinrich's been stopping his wife, which isn't a spoiler really, because it's most of the movie is Heinrich's involved. Heinrich is he's just a strange person. Every scene he's in with Mark, he talks to him as if he shouldn't be annoyed at him for shagging his wife for over a year.
Yeah,
and like,
he
dances around him and kind of touches his face like a pixie, then wanders off again. And then Mark tries to punch him, and then he starts doing karate chops and actually fucks Mark up completely.
Yeah, he really
even though
fucks
Mark's
Mark
a
up.
spy and he's like really strong and powerful, and he doesn't.
And then he just picks Mark up and is like, "Come on, Mark,
Yeah.
you silly bugger,
Yeah,
let's get you home."
like he's a silly baby.
Heinrich is very much like, that kind of hippie, it's all just love and like, let everything go and you shouldn't be mad. We're all just living.
He's definitely the strangest person in this film. I really, when you see him moving, that's why I
Arguably
was like,
also the most down to earth.
that's fucking hell. That's why I was like, it's like a dance, because he never stays still, and he literally is like pirouetting around Mark as he's talking to him. It's really odd and it's very bizarre.
Talks in a bunch of metaphors.
There's my favorite scene in the whole film. Well, okay, there's two, and there's one that's actually good, and this one's just a strange choice. Is when Heinrich's going to confront Anna about all the weird shit that starts happening. Weird shit starts happening. I'm sure we'll mention it. And he is on his motorbike, roaring towards Anna's flat, dressed all in white, including his shoes, with his shirt open, showing his tan chest, and he's just I was like, what a cool guy, and he's a kung fu master. I think Heinrich's my favorite character just because he's so weird. is that a legitimate choice to have for a favorite character? He's
like any character you want for it.
He's the most pleasant character, and he's been conducting an affair for a year.
No, Heinrich's mother is clearly the nicest character, who lives with him.
Yeah, but I didn't bond with her as much because you only see her properly in one scene. And then otherwise, she's just being really weird on the phone talking about her son's soul. It's like, look. Margie's my worst character because she makes the least sense.
Yeah,
she's
really,
just
so
annoying.
Margie is Anna's friend.
Yeah. Auntie Margie,
who only gets mentioned for the first half of the movie.
Yeah,
and she is seen as like, or is on phone calls, and you kind of see it as like, doesn't really like Mark.
Yeah, Mark doesn't like her either.
Is very much on Anna's side.
Yeah.
Give Anna her space. And
yeah, she's complicit in the affair. Really, I actually can't remember if she actually is, but Mark thinks she is. So.
No, she knows. I think she knows.
Yeah.
But regardless, but the second half of the movie, she is caterer / sex friend of Mark.
Anna and Mark are really selfish and horrible to their son Bob, and just in general, they they forget he's there. Shit. They leave him home alone for ages.
But the weirdest part is, whenever Anna and Mark are in a room together, they are volatile.
Yeah.
At all times, it never stops. It literally never stops.
Yeah.
There's
she starts cutting herself, then he cuts her himself.
Like the two of them are just bleeding everywhere.
It's
she
horrible.
cuts herself in the neck, and then he just goes back in and cuts his arm. But see, when either of them are with Bob alone, especially Mark is just a normal guy with a son when it's him and Bob.
I think we're getting close to the big metaphors of this film. But yeah. And like at first, in that first scene, and with Mark and his employers, he's not going crazy with them either. It's when he's with the main characters of the film, like they kind of talk kind of normally at that point, unless I missed it. But then when they're talking to when they're having one-on-one conversations with people, they just don't seem to give a shit about what they say, and they just talk an absolute riddles and nonsense. What a film!
So, about a third the way Anil disappears, and this is where basically the rest of the movie happens.
Yeah.
Like, I, to be honest, I'd say the biggest spoilers will come from here because things just escalate.
Yeah.
Once Anna kind of leaves their house.
Yeah, she acts strange, then she leaves. It's basically all that happens, isn't it? And then it's Heinrich and Mark trying to find her for a long time.
Yeah.
Oh God, Mark hires a private investigator, and he's the worst private investigator ever.
He's the worst private. It was literally what I was about to get onto.
He's following her so closely,
and like sketchily.
Yeah,
like she immediatally notices him, so he just starts jogging behind her.
Yeah,
and then she's opening her door to get into her flat, and he, like, instead of just waiting at the bottom of the stairs, he continues to walk up the stairs. Walks up another flight, pretends to walk.
The pretend footsteps thing.
And then goes, whoo!
Yeah.
Then 5 minutes later knocks on her door and pretends he's the building manager.
He has currywurst first.
That's true. Sorry, that's very true.
He goes out for a currywurst. Yeah. So it's a weird combination of, is he just being blatant about it? No, he is actually trying to be stealthy. Oh, God, I don't understand. And that's when that you see, he sees a weird creature in the flat with Anna.
So yeah, he gets it's more than one.
Yeah, true.
He goes in. He has to check the windows, or the police will come round.
Yes,
and
obviously.
Anna's like, I'm scared, so okay.
Yeah.
And he goes and checks all the windows, and he gets to one room, and there's this weird, like, black filth.
Yeah,
like black fleshy growth
goopy
all over the corner wall with some sort of like flat fish-faced monster sitting
weird
in the corner.
Yeah,
and it's just a good 10-second close-up of this monster. Then it goes into the bedroom where there is a torso where all the limbs and head are tentacles.
Yeah, and the torso's like open.
And then she stabs him with a broken bottle really badly. She has never murdered before. She is so bad at this murder. Like, I
think she talks about how much love making that her and Tentacle Monster had last night.
Yes.
To freak him out a bit. And then bottles him.
So tired.
And then bottles him,
twice. It's a hot, like, that's not the way I don't want to get neck stabbed by a woman that's never murdered before.
So we're still quite early. Well, I mean, we're halfway through the movie now, and it kind of
maybe about halfway.
Maybe, and it turns into a completely different thing, which is mostly about Anna and the monsters, and then Mark's struggles with that. It's really weird.
He goes between like really depressed drinking to just psychotic to I'm having a nice time with my son.
Yeah, and sorry, carry on.
He really, really wants Anna back. And I don't know why he really, really wants Anna back, because the moment she gets in the house, he cannot wait for her to leave. But he really, really wants Anna back.
Yeah, he says, like, if I threw myself at your feet like a dog, would you stop for me? And she's, or would you walk over? And she says, like, I'd walk over you or some shit. They're not very nice to each other.
No.
But she's actually really weird. And distant this whole time. And
in the midst of that, Mark meets his son's teacher for the first time, who is
so weird.
Who is Anna in a wig. And
green contact lenses.
I'm not the only one that says that, because Sam Neill literally grabs her hair and goes, "It's you in a wig!" And then she goes, "Sorry," and he goes, "Ah."
Yeah, it turns out that Bob's teacher is a doppelganger for his wife, and she's much nicer to Mark. So then he starts thinking, maybe I should kiss my wife. Better find her first. There's a really good scene when Anna is kind of descending into her weird monster-centric madness, where she's in a subway tunnel, and then she just starts.
This is pretty much the seminal scene of the whole movie.
Yeah, you could definitely tell as well when you're watching it. She then goes completely apeshit, for want of a better word, like gyrating and panting just by herself in this tunnel. And then she's got like bags of shopping, and they like smash against the wall, and it sprays like, I don't know, milk and eggs around or something. And then she's just, for a long time, for a long
this scene's probably about 5 minutes long.
A long scene. It feels like that anyway. And then like fluids start pouring out of her mouth and ears, and she's screaming horribly. And it's a really effective scene still, I'd say.
Definitely. It did annoy me though. Like the scene is like her just walking, and then she just starts, and it is uncut for like a good like minute and a half, 2 minutes, and then it just cuts to her standing against the wall, and it all starts over again. And it was obviously just
it was just a cut.
But I was so into this scene, like this was. And it really, really took me out. There's a second cut to when she's kind of squatting on the ground, and as you said, like, you know, this bile starts coming out her mouth, like she is pissing herself, like it is disgusting. And that cut was much more natural because it was that change of state.
Yeah, I get you.
But having this cut in the middle just ruined that scene for me.
He's being pernickety. It's a good scene. It was actually a paid tribute to in a Massive Attack video for their song Voodoo in My Blood, where Rosamund Pike does the same basic thing. It's very similar physically. There's no fluids, which kind of
piss herself.
And there's no milk and eggs or anything. So, but it's basically just her gyrating. So it's a bit less grotesque because it is pretty disgusting.
It is an excellently done scene, and she absolutely like pours herself into it.
I'm sure I read somewhere that Zelafsky, that sounded good, so Zelafsky told her to fuck the air. So she did for a few minutes. I mean, it was pretty... that's not how we make love in Britain, I don't think, but...
Isn't it?
Oh, right, okay. I don't know, maybe. Maybe. See the bit when Mark's in the pub... I actually don't want to spoil the scene, but I'll just kind of talk around it a bit. The shoe feather plan's really weird. He decides to make himself sick, and the thing I think it's a feather. It might be like a branch or something.
It's a feather.
Yeah, and
it's a feather.
So in a pub bin, he gets a shoe. In a pub bin, he gets a shoe and a feather out of the bin, and the shoe is to plug the toilet, which later makes sense, but you don't know why he's doing it. And then he decides to put the feather down his mouth to be sick. He didn't need to do any of that. It's a distraction plan. He needs someone to come into the toilet. He didn't. He could have just made the noises.
No, I noticed that. I noticed that as well, because the guy's just checking out. He just says, my stomach's sick.
I'm
after
really
he throws
sick.
Up.
It's so
and the guy's like, okay, I'll come and help you. He didn't need
it's
to do
so
the throwing
unconvincing. I mean, after that, the last 10 minutes of the film, I had to check because I was like, shit starts really popping off. The last 10 minutes of the film, a lot happens really quickly. And I don't really want to get into it, but it kind of changes film again in a weird way. It really becomes like the spy thriller it was supposed to be in the first 2 minutes of the film in the last 10, weirdly.
Yeah, the ending goes, a mixture between the Bourne Identity mixed with...
Oh, it is quite the Bourne Identity because it's the stair. It's all the stairwell. Yeah, that's a good shot.
It goes very the Bourne Identity mixed with like a Lovecraftian horror.
Yeah, and it is. I think it's quite fair to call this Lovecraftian because it's so off kilter. And okay, there's tentacle monsters, but the evil is never explained in any kind of way. It's never like so. Don't hope for that. And I'm glad that I'm spoiling that part for you, because if you care about that, you probably shouldn't watch this. But it's always like some totally ambiguous force.
Yeah, you're not going to end this movie by going, "Oh, what a satisfying conclusion," and all my questions are answered.
You never know how Anna got into this, and you never really know what the motivations of the evil are or anything like that. Really, it's unknowable. So it is pretty Lovecraftian.
And that kind of brings me to the themes.
Divorce. Did you know that Andre was going through a divorce when he made this film?
Yeah, I feel it's a lot. It's basically about two things for me at least.
Yeah.
It was about divorce, obviously, and the split in Germany.
Yeah.
There is a huge parallel between
that's still
their
divorce
relationship.
To me. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's all about divorce.
Human or national.
Yeah.
This movie is, if you look at it through the lens of it being about divorce, human and national, like a lot of the stuff has much more of a place.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it makes sense, but it has much more of a place in the movie, and you can see where certain things come together.
Yeah.
Even, in the basis sense, Mark and Anna are the two halves. The child is the population. It's that kind of...
Yeah. And the doppelganger primary teacher and all that makes more sense too, because it's like what they want out of their partner and all that stuff, and oh god, there's just lots of
same with Heinrich. I think Heinrich is very much that as well, because Anna has this large speech about why she went with Heinrich, and it is probably the most down to earth moment in the whole movie. She is crying on the floor and basically just explaining why she made all these decisions, and it was she needed the unknowable. She couldn't feel alive with, like, she was suffocating, and it is that very it's that very stereotypical divorce reasoning, but much more layered, where it isn't about the grass was greener. It was about, I really don't know what I want. I don't know what I want out of this. And again, that can expand to that national sense where there was this split, and to bring it back together, you have to have that coinciding of two sides. You need agreement. But when there is so much suspicion and unknowing and suppression of that knowledge, you can't have that, and that's where you get that outburst, that insanity.
As a nation going through Brexit, it's easier for us to imagine this.
Yeah.
I think I took Heinrich to be everyone. Fucking hell! Everything in this film is like a projection of someone's feelings. So Heinrich, to me, was Mark's projection of everything he's worried about in a rival, because he's more manly than him. He fucks better than him. He, according to Anna, like he's tanned, rippling. He's not even rippling, but the movie makes him look like that. So he's
not obsessed with his masculinity.
He's totally at ease with all of it.
And Mark is better looking.
Well, if that's your taste.
But in classic, Heinrich is a much older man than Mark.
He is. Yeah, he is
it's
older.
that kind of, and that's that insecure. Like, he brings all of this without being that perfect figure. That
but I think that's
international super spy.
Yeah. So what does an international super spy fear? Well, Mark apparently feared an older man who was better in bed than him or something, and like
more in touch with his feelings, and
but also
more
stronger
in touch with his wife, and also stronger and rides a motorbike.
And the demon is like Anna's guilt or lust, because she's fucking it all the time and made physical. It's all really, this film is full of that shit, full of it. I shouldn't say shit because it's not bad, it just means it's rampant.
It's rampant with metaphor.
It really is. It is. I'm sure in film school they must watch this because it's one of those films.
Yeah,
it really is. Essays upon essays have been written about this, I'm sure. Did you like
what
it?
Did you? You beat me to it.
Would you recommend it? I wouldn't.
To who?
Yeah, I wouldn't.
To who?
There's no. I don't think I know any.
Absolutely who?
I don't think there's anyone that this would be an easy recommend for me because it's such a weird watch.
Yeah.
This
is a movie you seek out. It is.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed watching it, but
I just find
I can recognize the quality.
Jointed.
Yeah, I can recognize the quality in it. The acting style is it's such a weird choice. It's not a bad choice because it's purposeful and it pays off in the subway scene. But it's such a weird choice that it's kind of... It's really weird because I was about to call it a soulless film, but it's not soulless because it's the director pouring his entire soul onto celluloid and all his fears and emotions, and he's working through something visceral, and you can get all that from it quite easily. So it's not soulless, but just as a watch now, it's not shocking anymore.
No, definitely
not really. It was.
There is some good imagery that actually holds up pretty well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it's lost its sinisterness. It's not chilling anymore in a way that it was when it came out. I'm sure, because I mean, it's 40 years old now. So,
and I feel it really reflects, as you said, it reflects a man going through strife, pouring onto celluloid, and I feel that detracts a wee bit for me. It's too disjointed. It is too raw. For me, that we talked earlier about it. It's essentially 3 movies in one, and that just kind of it just didn't land.
Yeah,
it is a stark for 1981 in Germany. It is a really pretty brave and stark piece of cinema, but it is not something that I can personally say, "Oh, I love this movie."
Yeah, it's not scary. We need to get more scary films under the belt because
we certainly do.
I keep making us watch films that aren't scary anymore, but
no, you keep making us watch films that are depressing.
Yeah, that's true. It is depressing. Yeah. Not surprised.
We're already in a caravan. We don't need to depress any further.
I love it here. What are you talking about? Yeah, it's if I was in film college or whatever, this would be amazing to watch for that purpose because I've seen other films that kind of get dissected to death for classes and stuff, and I feel this is one of the better ones in terms of that. And if you're into watching films with heavy symbolism. Yeah, because you'll get way more. Like we both only watched it once. You'll probably get way more out of it than we did if you watch it a couple more times or whatever. I just don't have the desire to do that because that's not really.
It is a film that if you're that kind of film fan, you could pick this movie apart and apart and apart.
Yeah,
and apart.
This will be some people's fucking real cup of tea, but I think for the majority of people, even. The subsection, it's not even the majority of people, it's the majority of horror fans, which are already a subsection. Most of them aren't really going to be that into this, apart from the kind of scenes that we liked, like the subway scene and some of the monster stuff. It's pretty impressive for 1981 still, looking at it now. Some of the goopy monster stuff is quite good. Some of it's not. But.
And it's one of the... As you said, would I recommend this? No, if you want a more watchable Sam Neill weird fucking movie... Go Event Horizon like that.
Yeah,
this is Event Horizon, but with like way more purpose, if you know what I mean. Like,
yeah,
this is a person's like diary. That's what, like a person's showcase, a person's dissertation, if you want. Like, Event Horizon is if you wanted to make this into an enjoyable movie, you make Event Horizon.
Yeah, it's commendable in that it's clearly not. This is his vision. I struggle to think if anyone had like when it came out in America, it was cut down stuff. But assuming you're watching the uncut version, the original version, like this is the director's vision, probably entirely as he wanted to realize it on film, and that doesn't happen very often to get something it's definitely, you know, his pure, complete product that he like. Do you know what I mean? Do you know where I'm going with that? Rather than studio interference, or even like, I mean, the special effects are good enough that I'm like, yeah, I don't see much that was out of his reach. So I'm sure he was quite proud of the finished product in that regard, and it is commendable that it's totally uncompromising. Even like to the point of the actor's performance and all that, it's complete. It pulls no punches. It's exactly as mad as it wants to be, which is cool.
It's definitely like, I mean, I think the closest you kind of get these days to a movie like this is basically anything that comes out of A24.
Yeah.
You know, Robert Eggers kind of puts whatever his vision is onto screen. Yeah. Ari Aster puts his vision onto screen. And obviously, there might still be some studio interference. I don't know. I'm not there. But it seems a much more... Like, if you look at The Lighthouse, you know, you can't imagine that someone was like, no, there are things I really want cut. Like, that is a person's vision put onto screen. Yeah, they've got the money for it. And, I mean, those kind of films are lauded for that. In a way that I do think this movie should be as well. And exactly, and that's the change between, I think, today and, you know, 1981 is, in 1981, movies like this didn't have a place. They had indie cinema, and if you got a full cinema release, you were very lucky for a movie like this.
Oh yeah,
now it's on Netflix. It's on it's everywhere.
This was a bomb when it came out, and it was a video nasty. Of course it was. And it was a video nasty in the UK. And I mean, I could see why it was a video nasty as well. Although it's not overtly graphic. I mean, there's some of the thieves, the goopy sex monster stuff. I could see why that probably didn't fly in 1981.
And all of what we're saying is not in terms of, you know, we watched it in May, we didn't enjoy it. Like, that is not to say it's not a good movie. It's a good movie. It's got good performance, like hella good performances.
Yeah, I recognize the quality for sure.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it's definitely, it's a film nerds movie.
Yeah,
it's a film students movie.
Yeah, how many of those are
whether that is literal, like, you know, within academia, or just someone who is really, really into that kind of side of film. But yeah, it's a film students film.
Yeah, 100%. So,
do you know who didn't like it?
I was literally about to ask.
I know you are. I'm better at segues.
Who didn't like it?
Avatar 6.
Avatar 6?
Avatar 6. Avatar 6.
When's that coming out?
I mean, the original release date was 2022. It was going to come out. Oh. Avatar 6 says, oh!
Yeah.
That's his title. So Avatar 6 says, quite possibly the worst film I have ever seen.
Yeah.
This coming from a huge Sam Neill fan. I tracked down the uncut version, and that proved to be a big mistake. It only prolonged the torture. The special effects. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say special effects? I meant the feeble attempt at special effects. They were so pathetic, I couldn't even laugh at them. The plot had holes to make the Grand Canyon look like a ditch. The dialogue was so poor. The term non sequitur does not even begin to describe this flick. Somebody please tell me what Sam was doing in this film. He's so much better than this. Please tell me rent was due, Sam.
Rent was due.
Gabriel Tonka, on the other side, thought this movie was a 10 out of 10.
Oh, wow.
He saw this movie in 1981 on its first release in the UK. The utterly bemused faces of the audience, struck dumb by the absurdist, expressionist visual feast they had witnessed, was looked upon knowingly by the cinema staff. A week later, the film closed. I was at every London screening for the next 10 years. It has been wonderful to see this film's gradual acceptance by the critical under-establishment. Contemporary critics would call the film valueless, except as weird travelogue and technical tour de force. I always consider top tens as pretty facile exercises. However, this film surpasses and bypasses stereotypical classification. It is the best film ever made.
Jesus Christ.
Sorry, you thought you were going to agree with these reviews?
Well, it's not like... I mean, he's entitled to his opinion, but...
Utter guff trap.
They're really on two sides of totally...
Some complete ball bag came into my workplace and recommended this film to me. A smell of boiled cabbage and tripe. I'm nigh on certain that this inbred arse farmer's dentures were giving me the come on.
This guy writes better than the last guy.
Anyway, I watched this garbage under the ill-advised supervision of a one-eyed fruit bat in last week's issue of By Jingo, He's Got a Big Clock monthly, expecting something of a European masterclass in high gear filth. What I received was in fact a bile-infested, self-indulgent crap bonanza of the highest order.
Does this guy write for Viz or something? What is happening? Oh my God.
I'm going to stop there. It goes on.
Why?
I don't agree with any of those people, to be honest.
Why not carry on? I liked it.
Trust me, it gets much worse. I don't really want on this podcast.
Oh, right, okay. Whoopsie daisy. So yeah, so in summary, the average person won't like it, but if you're into that kind of thing, you will.
All of them had just under half of people finding them helpful. all on IMDb.
Wait, so half did, half didn't. So it's split entirely.
Yeah.
Oh dear. I was trying to think of other films to watch. Event Horizon. Event Horizon. Yeah, for me, my first choice was, if you want mad fusions of goopy monsters and sex, try From Beyond. We did watch From Beyond.
Yes, we did watch From Beyond.
The 1986 movie, based on Lovecraft as well, and it's got great Jeffrey Combs in it.
Yeah,
it's there's no symbol. Sorry, Karen.
There's no symbolism in that. I would say if you want a more palatable movie with that is just themes up and down, I would. It is. I mean, personally, I find top 10 lists pretty facile experiences, but I would put this film on my top 10.
If you're forced,
is the Lighthouse. It's definitely a much more palatable experience, but still that kind of balls to the walls. It's just full of themes. The plot isn't really plot.
Listen, my other film to watch is just based on the goop monsters and the weird sex. So, but it's campier. So if you were that last guy who thought he was getting some Euro filth, From Beyond is probably what you want. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you want your symbolism, Lighthouse is a good shout as well. Yes, for sure. For surezies. I too find it facile, but I'm sure it would be up there in my list too. So that about wraps up, I think.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say? Any final words for Possession 1981? There's another Possession movie out and it's shit, I think.
There are a lot of movies called Possession. Weirdly.
Yes. Make sure you get the right one. You'll know it when you see it.
I mean, genuinely, my final thoughts are I wish Sam Neill did more of this stuff. He is great at going from really reserved and really toned down to just absolutely exploding, and it's natural and you feel it's natural. And again, with that kind of what people today see Sam Neill as in his biggest movies, it's not that he doesn't get to push his acting chops that way. There are plenty of ways. Hunt for the Wilder People, he puts an incredible performance, but it is a very different kind of performance than here.
He's got a home in big horror, and he enjoys it, as he says himself. So
totally.
It'd be nice. Yeah, it'd be nice to see him take a final swing at it. Final swing. I'm so sorry, Sam.
Wait.
How old are you? Is he still acting?
He's 73. Ooh.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I mean that kind of energy. That is actually quite interesting because Isabelle.
Adjani.
Adjani.
Adjani. So
she said later on in this film that it's definitely something she could only do when she was younger, and it took her a long time to get over it because it was very intense filming it.
Yes.
Which you can probably appreciate looking at it. And actually, now that I say that, I think possibly don't be aware that this film's got, I mean, it's a product of its time and it's uncompromising and it's about
it's from a
messy
man
themes.
And made by a man going through a divorce.
Yeah, and it's got a lot of symbolism, but it's also pretty rampantly misogynistic and has some domestic abuse scenes.
Yes.
Which... I mean, I wasn't bothered watching when I was watching it because
it plays very soap opera when it's happening.
Yeah.
So it takes the sting off a wee bit. But yeah, this movie is. I got very much Shelley Duvall in Shining vibes at certain points. Like that kind of, you can kind of feel what she had to go through.
Yeah.
Making this movie.
She won many awards for it, as she should, because she is really excellent in it. We focus on Sam Neill a bit because we just like Sam Neill in the other films.
Well, we also know Sam Neill more.
Yeah, exactly. We're familiar with Sam Neill, and I already like Sam Neill, but she is really amazing in this film.
Yeah,
and
she puts in a hell of a performance.
Yeah,
and then also,
yeah, but it's definitely something to be aware of if that kind of thing makes you uncomfortable ever, because it's pretty full on.
Yeah.
Well, I think that about wraps it up. So, as I said at the top, we're staying in France. So, next time we'll be delving into one of the films from New French Extremity, as they call it. And for a change, because I've seen quite a lot of those films, I think I'll let your good self maybe take the wheel. I'll have a wee nap in your seat. You can drive us to one by looking on Wikipedia and seeing what there is.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely up for that. Well, to take a nap, we're gonna have to get our caravan out the river. We didn't get a caravan park this time, and unfortunately, it's been tipped into the river. So we're gonna have to go and do that. And next week, French Extremity. It might actually have something to do with France, so fingers crossed.
It will, and it may be in French, although there are some French Extremity films that aren't filmed in French. And if you want to choose one of them just to really annoy people, I'm good for it.
Well, we will find that out next week with
how long can we go without being exposed to subtitles? Let's see.
I know. The caravan tour of terror, but as long as we don't have to read anything. Goodbye.
Bye.
The dice, but literally you don't have a cough button. Literally the entire
I do, I just didn't use it. I can fucking mute myself. Why did you acknowledge it on your vocal thing? Now I've got to edit this. I could have muted it.
Or leave it in.
Oh dear.
Cough up the lung, get it all out.
Jesus.
Take a sip of your iron brew. We'll get back to
it's sprayed in my
spill
face.
it everywhere. God.
Jesus.
The true horror.
Now I've got to take my headphones off. Oh, it's okay. It's okay.
You good? So the first...
No, shut up. So the first interview scene I quite liked.